Okay, so this year we got a driver's daily log. So when we're going beyond the 150 air mile radius, one of these should be filled out. So initially when you start, you go ahead and put the date in today. And we're gonna put the name of the carrier. So we got Dan, the moving man. The main office address is 1720 Westgate Road. And the home terminal is the same. And then what we're gonna do is, depending on the truck number, we're taking truck 351 today. So we're gonna put truck 351 in here. This is for truck, tractor, and trailer, but we only have the trucks. We got truck 351. So what we're gonna do is down here in the shipping documents, we should have a bill of lading, because we're gonna move John Anderson today. So the bill of lading should have a number on it. That's gonna show like 1724 Anderson. So then that way, if you get stopped, this here will match the bill of lading that you have in the truck with you. And the commodity is going to be household goods. So today we're starting at 7 o'clock in the morning. So what we do is we were off duty till 7 o'clock. Start time 7. We're going to go ahead and we're going to go down to on duty because we're going to be on duty for 15 minutes. And right here, we're going to put vehicle inspection.
Now, Crystal, how important is it to fill out this correctly and put the notations in there?
This is absolutely critical. You need to have the vehicle, or you need to have the notations down here, so then that way the inspector can know exactly what you were doing at that time.
And Crystal, again, how many miles past the terminal do you need to start filling this out?
150 air miles.
Okay, and now if you go 150 air miles out, how many hours can you work that day?
If you go on 150 air miles, it's different for you guys because you guys fall under a different category because your drive time is only going to be, say today, we have to drive 2 hours to our job.
Correct.
Okay, our job site. So to Mr. Anderson's, we're on duty, we did the inspection. Now we have to go up to driving. And it's 7:15, so at 9:15, we arrived at Mr. Anderson's. And his address is 2136 Locust Drive.
Appleton.
Okay, so from that point, you got 2 hours drive time. So what we're going to do is we're going to be on duty, not driving. And it's going to take us, I don't know, till, let's say, 6:15 to get the truck loaded. Okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to go back to driving. And we're going to be back at 8:15. Okay? Leaving 2136 Locust Drive, Appleton.
Now, how good are state patrol officers at detecting if you're lying about your time log?
They're very good because essentially any day that you have to use a driver's daily log, you have to have well, like here we left here with a full tank of gas. We didn't have to stop for gas or anything. And in here on our on-duty, not driving time, we had our lunch and everything, so that's covered. But now if we would have been driving this whole time, we would have had to put a line down here and said that we had our 30-minute lunch break. Okay? But that's how it's so different for this company and for a lot of companies that I work with because your primary focus is you're not driving 10, 12, 14 hours a day. You know, but you're going beyond your air mile radius.
If you so when you stop, gas up, any of that stuff, that's all noted on that sheet.
It needs to be noted on here, and you need to keep the receipt.
And you need to notate where you stopped at.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. So
then, do I want to go from driving to on duty? You put the fill up and back up to driving, or do you just make a note at where you were driving?
No. When you're going to get fuel, so we'll back up a couple spots and say that okay. it's going to take us a little bit longer than we thought, but it's 8:15 and we need to stop and get some fuel. So we're going to go down to on duty, not driving, and it's going to be 15 minutes, and we're going to notate here, Wausau, quick trip, fuel. So that's 15 minutes, and then we're going to go back up, to driving. However long, it took us to get back home now.
So you're just putting like the gas station name with the
You want the
full address or anything?
Right.
Like
Nope.
that.
You don't need that because you have your receipts to back that.
Okay.
You just need to let them know where you were stopped and what town you were in. Okay. And then at the end of the day, you're gonna want to come over here. See, we got back, and our total miles driven today. We drove 426 miles. And then over here we gotta recap the whole day. So over here, our on-duty hours total, lines 3 and 4. And it has specific instructions right here for you guys. So you're on duty, not driving. So here we got 15 an hour, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, a total of 10. Total hours on duty last 7 days, including today. Those were time records.
And just to be clear, time records, you guys, is what your T-sheets is.
Yep. And then B, total hours available tomorrow, the 70 hour minus A, which is that's why it's so different for you guys, because you had time records. So you were within your radius. So when you're doing this day, you have, you're allowed like 70 hours a week.
Okay.
14-hour days. One day of the week you're allowed 16 hours.
Okay.
So you guys are going to be well below the regulations. And so that way, be here. Total hours available tomorrow. We were driving. We drove what did we drive? 1.5, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours. So technically tomorrow we have about 63 hours, right? Out of a 70-hour week. Total hours on duty last 8 days, including today. This would have been, we worked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16. So technically, the total hours on duty last 8 days. See, 8 days. You guys don't work at 8. It's not a, there's an 8-day rolling calendar. So say you start Sunday, it goes Sunday to Monday.
Okay.
So it's messed up how that works. But for us, we're going to be the 60-hour, 7-day drivers. So up here, it's like here it talks about the 8 days. Total hours on duty last 6 days, including driving. We don't have our timesheets in front of us. I mean, how many hours you guys typically work in a day? Say
8, usually 8.
8. So we had 5 days at 8 is 40, right?
Yep.
Total hours available tomorrow, 60 hours. Minus our 60-hour minus A. That's time records, so we're good. You just got to make sure you tally this recap for the week. But most importantly, over here, like our off-duty hours, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours. Over here, we had 0 in the sleeping berth. Over here,
Can you explain what a sleeping berth is?
sleeping berth is when you have a truck that has a bed in the back of it. Essentially like a semi. Like most of your guys' trucks are like the day runners, where you don't have you don't have the sleeper berth available. But now for you guys, when you do stop, you have to go to a motel. You cannot sleep in your truck You cannot sleep in the truck. You know, a lot of people think they're going to cheat the system, stop at the weigh station or the rest area or whatever and just sleep in the truck. Well, it doesn't fly over too well because chances are you'll have an inspector or trooper or cop come through there and they'll come knocking on your window. So here for the driving, we had 1.5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then on duty, not driving, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.5. So for the total today, we had 15, 24.5. But they were all, you know, you had off duty, 7 hours, and you know, and essentially, if you would have multiple days of these, you'd have the one previous to you showing that off duty, you probably had at least like a 10-hour sleeping period, you know. But the thing is, for you guys, a lot of the the hours of service, they still apply to you, but you're never. I just don't foresee you ever hitting those times, because if each one of you guys uses 8 of these a month, that's your maximum. If you guys end up using more than 8 of these a month, then we have to get the ELDs in the truck.
Okay.
And can you explain what those are?
When you're crossing state lines, you know.
And can you explain what those
are?
Electric
Logging devices. A lot of companies use like a cell phone. There's a lot of different companies around that, you know, you could get your program through, and what happens is there's a meter that gets installed in the truck. So you have it set, so whenever that truck starts rolling at 5 miles an hour, that electronic logging device is going to kick in. And it's going to start keeping track of how long you've driven. And then when you stop, it's going to stop. And then you mark in there, you type in there, you know, okay, quick trip, Eau Claire.
Yeah.
You know? And then once it starts rolling past 5 miles an hour, it kicks back on again. So they've gotten pretty stingent with those. You know, it's a huge requirement for all the big industry, you know, the big trucking industries. But there's an exemption out there for companies such as yours, you know, where you're not required to have them unless each driver utilizes more than 8 of these a month. So that's just something to keep in mind. And that's when you're going out of state. You know, or past the 150 air mile radius. Yeah.
The 150 air miles, that's just 150 miles circle around the
150
shop,
air miles from this location.
Okay.
Yep. And what Tyler should do is actually go on to the air mile radius map, or if you guys want to or whatever, put in this address and then you Google the 150 air mile radius, and it'll break you down. It'll map out that whole circle for you. So then that way, if you know, oh gosh, we're going to, you know.
So like today we would have had to do that because we had 164 miles.
One way?
Oh no.
No,
one way. One
way.
One way. Yep. When you
Okay.
go beyond 150 air miles, one way. It does. So if you have 3 people on that truck, all 3 people have to fill out a logbook page. If you're the driver, obviously you're going to have drive time and they're going to have on-duty time. Not on-duty, not driving time. So it's going to count against them as well, you know, for their hours.
So, and there's how many hours can you drive again straight? Is it like 10?
10.
So if you have a off-duty passenger and a driver driving for 10, can you switch and have it go off-duty and have the off-duty be driving for another 10 hours?
Here's the catch-22 though with your guys' trucks for that. You guys do not have a sleeper berth on that truck. So that driver can, if that driver or that rider had a sleeper berth on that truck and they were sleeping you drove for 10 hours and they were driving, or you were driving for those 10 hours, they were sleeping for those 10 hours, you could pull over, you could go sleep, they can drive. That's perfect. They cannot sleep in the passenger seat.